Hey guys, it's American Wayne, and there's been a lot of changes going on in my life lately. Most of you know I've been pastoring a church here in Louisiana for about 3.5 years now. And before that, I was in the ministry as a youth pastor for about 10 years or so. So I've been in the ministry, so to say, in the local church, for over 13 years, actually probably closer to 14 or 15 years. And I've been ministering in the church since I was a teenager, almost 20 years. So I've been plugged in, as we like to say, and there's been some changes in my life as far as a paradigm shift in my mind as far as what does it mean to be the church. And I've been looking up videos about do we need the institutional church? And when I have found people trying to answer this question, I don't think they kind of get the question, because when that question is asked and Christians attempt to answer it, they always revert to scriptures that talk about community, that talking about don't forsake the assembling together with one another. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, do we need the institutional church, the organization, the Constantine-driven and inspired structure that we've got, the hierarchy that we've got now? And I would have defended that to my dying breath until probably about 6 or 8 months ago. And I just asked the question, was church, and I'm using church in the conventional term that we know of, was church God's idea? I don't think it was. People who answer this question, they cannot separate the local organized institutional church from people getting together that are Christians or whatever. I don't even think the word Christian is something that you necessarily have to call yourself, but as believers in the way, when we get together, man, I'm telling you, it's that's church. I have church whenever I go to breakfast with friends of mine every Saturday morning. We don't always talk about spiritual things, but let me tell you, I feel more edified, I guess, than I do a lot of times most of the times, and whenever I go to a worship service at an institutional church. And so that leads me to where my wife and I are going now. At the end of this year, we've already said this to our church, we're resigning as pastors at Living Word Family Church. Our last service is December 28th, okay, the last Sunday of the year. And they're going to have a vote here in a couple of days on whether or not they want to find a new pastor or they want to close the building. Because, over the last several months I've been teaching on what it is to be the church, and I think some people are catching on to it. Some people, of course, it scares the hell out of them thinking about closing the church doors. What are we going to do? A lot of them are going to just find a new organized church to go to, and that's fine if that's what they feel that they need. I don't really think I will need that. But my wife and I don't know if it's a transitional thing or if this is something that, that we're going to do long term, but I know what God has told us to do is just to go out and build a loose-knit community, people who, and it's not a church, we're not going to meet on Sundays and all that stuff, but, we'll get together for dinners, for lunches, for different things, and just do life with one another. And we will have worship music, we'll have a time of prayer and stuff like that, but it's going to be not programmed. We're not going to have youth ministries, we're not going to have nursery, we're not going to have all these positions or titles. It's just something we're going to get together and do whenever we feel like that's what we want to do, and just like when friends get together. Because in a church setting, as the pastor of a church, there's people who I have association with in that church that would not have an organic, real association with me if it wasn't for the position, And so I'm kind of done with all that. Whenever a church, and I'm using that, it's still not as the body of Christ, but as a building, a structure, whenever they are a small church, and a lot of small churches are this way, when they're focused on keeping themselves alive, when every penny that is brought into that organization is going towards perpetuating the same thing over and over again. It's not getting out into the community. It's not propagating the gospel. It's just paying the salary and paying the utilities of that building. Then there's a problem there. Whenever, as a pastor, whenever our focus and our worry is on whether or not bills are going to get paid, which, yes, that's been happening. I have a small church and a lot of people aren't giving, but that's fine, and that's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is we cannot continue in this madness. We cannot continue raising money just to prop up a building. It's not about a building, okay? We get rid of the building, we don't have to worry about that. We can, if we take up any money, we can be spirit-led on where it goes. I won't have a salary. We're not going to have any rent or anything to pay except for minimal utilities. We're gonna be renting this building, but it's going to be free rent and just paying a portion of utilities. We're only going to use it twice a month. And so this is where we're heading. There's a lot more to this. But the question is, was church God's idea? And not the way we have church now. It's so cold. Anyway, this has been a long video. If you have any questions, you want to know more about what I'm talking about, I may make little videos here and there about it. But anyway, this is American Wayne signing out. Remember, strength spoken, shackles broken.